This is Julio's Corner, my corner of the internet where I talk about whatever is on my mind. It's usually media that I've watched, read, or listened to. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, August 16th, 2026. And here I am once again, your host, Julio from New York. The primaries in Wisconsin just happened recently, and Francesca Hung has lost to the centrist, moderate, I think his name is Thomas Crowley. People are calling him Data Center Tom or whatever. So yeah, after getting their way, they're once again doing everything in their power to lose the election to the Republicans, because that's what moderates do. They like to immediately jump to the right of the public opinion, which will then kill any momentum and enthusiasm for the election. And the Republicans are going to vote Republican regardless. They are just diehard MAGA cultist followers and will blindly vote red. Whereas all these young new voters that were being incentivized by the Francesca Hong run are just going to be deflated, disenfranchised, and a lot of them will probably just stay at home and not even bother. In other news, regarding myself anyway, I've been on a bit of a nostalgia run. Nostalgia is taking full effect. I am rewatching the original run of Frasier, the original 11 seasons, not the new reboot that they did recently on Paramount Plus that I believe has since been canceled after like 2 seasons, maybe 1.5, regardless. No, I'm watching the original one with him, his father, Daphne, his younger brother Niles, and so on. And I'm on season 1, like episode 9 or 10 at this point of this recording, and I'm reloving it as always. It's a fun show. It's nostalgia. It's comfort food, essentially, comfort food for the soul, and it still holds up. The majority of it holds up. Obviously, there are some things that are now definitely dated. For instance, homophobia obviously was considered, what's the word I'm looking for? It was tolerated. We'll just say, for lack of a better term, it was tolerated. So there would be a lot of these uneasy jokes about someone's manlyhood and comparing it with homosexuality, as in you're not manly enough, therefore you're fruity or gay. And a lot of that stuff happens to fall on the Niles character versus Frasier, who though is somewhat not that far off in terms of his mannerisms and his taste for the sophistique. He's still a little more quote unquote masculine than his younger brother Niles, who's definitely a lot more effeminate. I think actually the guy, David Hyde Pierce, the actor, is actually gay in real life, but regardless, that was never a point of, I don't think that was even known during the show's run. And that's not really relevant to the point of the writing. However, there are some jokes made at his expense, questioning his manhood and comparing it to being gay. That does happen on occasion at times during the show, which I noticed and do cringe a little bit, because obviously those type of jokes are no longer tolerated or acceptable in normal society. Well, then again, during the current Trump administration, apparently it's making a comeback with these quote-unquote free speechers that really just want to say slurs, but they don't protect any other free speech, like Free Palestine or like we're living in a wannabe fascist dictatorship, and we should do everything in our power to prevent it. The other show I'm starting to rewatch is also Ted Lasso. Season 4 is premiering, which wasn't a thing, wasn't expected, I should say. Originally, Ted Lasso was originally a 3 season package, a 3 season story. And once after the third season ended, that was the end of it. Jason Sudeikis never said he would never humor or entertain the idea of a fourth season. And a number of years have gone by. The World Cup has just happened, and all of a sudden, during this time, he apparently felt he had a change of heart, and so now there's this new fourth season, and some of the recurring cast of Ted Lasso are back. Not all of them. Obviously, they're going in a different direction. The original Ted Lasso run, he was coaching. Shoot, I forget the name, but it was an all man's. It was the standard men's sports team. And in the new season, season 4, he's going to be coaching a women's team. Apparently, I think it's going to be like their first time that this franchise is doing a women's team. So he's going to help launch it, so to speak. I think that's the premise of the new season. He is definitely coaching a women's team. That much I know. Whether he'll be the first coach in the history of this new women's club, I don't know. But that's the direction that season 4 is going in, with a lot of cast members from the original 3 seasons. Some of them, mostly the 2 female leads of the original 3-run series. His friend Coach Beard, the angry guy Kent, I think is his name, or is that No, Troy is. I don't think Troy's going to be in this new season, but Kent is the angry old timer who became a coach during the 3rd season of Ted Lasso. The Indian guy Nate the Great. He's not. I don't think he's going to be in the new season like he was in the first 3. But the original Coach Beard is, as I mentioned, the owner. The girl who does the PR for the team. There's going to be a new female coach that will be part of it. Of course, a female cast because it's going to be a women's club. And that's the extent of my knowledge. But in the meantime, while that new season is starting and launching, I am going to rewatch the original 3 seasons so I can take my time. It's a nostalgia factor, of course. It reminds me of when I first watched it, which was when COVID happened, and it was dire times, and this was a nice, fresh breath of fresh air during that dire moment in time. But anyways, now that we've gone through all of that about my nostalgia factor, and Francesca Hong not winning. There were a lot of other progressive candidates that did win, so there's that. Hassan Piker is still getting lambasted by the corporate media because they wanna make him the boogeyman for all future progressive candidates that are running in future elections, to just toe the line, follow the DNC's direction, and tried to ostracize Hassan Piker from the masses and from your campaign runs. So you can be more moderate and center-leaning and just let corporates continue to win and screw the rest of us. But anyways, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. And I finished watching a K-drama for the first time in a while since Perfect Crown, ironically enough. And this one is called Filing for Love. It has one of my favorite Korean actresses. Again, I'm going to destroy these names because I don't speak Korean. Her name is Shin Hye-sun. I always thought it was Shin Hye-sun because I thought the original spelling of her name was Hye, but it's recently been changed to Hae, so I guess it's Shin Hye-sun, unless I am still mispronouncing it badly. We have Kim Jae-uk, who's a very well-known actor. I've seen him in a couple of other K dramas. I believe I saw him originally. I originally saw him in one with Park Min Young, but then he also did this. He was in an older one, which I believe is called Coffee Princess, with Gong Yu. Let me look him up real quick. And boop 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 boop. It was called Her Private Life with Park Min Young. That's the one I'm talking about. And I'm pretty sure he was in Coffee Princess. Yes, he was. He was in Coffee Prince back in 2007. That's when that originally came out. I saw that a few years ago. And of course, but before that, I saw him with Park Min Young in Her Private Life. And of course, most recently, Filing for Love, where he plays a much less. Well, no, he usually plays characters that are sort of timid or spineless or lack a bit of the typical masculine swag that a more generic male lead archetype would have. This other guy, this young actor, first time I've seen him, I believe, his name is Gong Myung, who plays No Gi Jun, a very ambitious auditor who feels like he's being stepped on by the new manager, who is, of course, played by Shin Hae Soon, and this other female lead, Hong Hwa Young, playing Park A Jong, ex-girlfriend of No Ji Jun, and of course, she has she's crushing on that other guy, um, Jeon Jae-yul, played by old actor Kim Jae-uk. And when I say old, he's probably younger than me. He's like in early 40s. Let me see. How old is he? He's 43. So yes, he's 6 years younger than me. So yeah. Anyways, whereas Gong Myung, he's in his 20s, I think, right? He's 32. I stand corrected. Shin Hae Soon, of course, is in her early 30s, right? Shin Hae Soon is age not listed. Women do not like to reveal how old they are. Okay. Anywho, moving. Oh, wait, maybe because I clicked on the character name. Yeah, I clicked on the character name. Let me go back to the actress. And 36. There we are. So, as I mentioned, the premise of the show, Filing for Love, it's a standard big corporation in Korea. They have many departments and are in many businesses. They've branched out to multiple different things. So, of course, um, they have this department, the auditor department, that helps make sure that all the other businesses are running correctly. They're running the straight and narrow. They're not doing anything illegal. They're not doing anything compromising and what have you. Anything that will affect the bottom line in a scandal or what have you, and cause dire consequences, liability, and so on. So No Ji Jun, if that's how you pronounce his name, or No Gi Jun, he, as I mentioned, he is the ace of the auditor department. I believe he was in team one. There's like two or three different teams. Team three is the one that no one wants to be a part of because they deal with more personal scandals like affairs or misbehaviors, things like that. Whereas team one deals with more things like tax evasion, embezzlement, political machinations, like trying to do some lobbying efforts to get some, laws passed or whatever, things that are more white collar crime based. Unlike Team Three, which deals in the more petty crimes, more personal misconduct, so sexual harassment, sexual assault, affairs, uh, things that are just more nothing flashy, but just as embarrassing, and on a personal basis, obviously. So no one wants to be part of that division just because it's considered below them and petty and what have you. Whereas when you're capturing a guy doing something more like corporate fraud, embezzlement, that kind of thing, that's considered a bigger fish and much more prestigious. So, anyways, No Ji Jun is the ace of Team One. He's killing it. He's working on his most recent case, which is auditing the pharmaceutical group of the company. I believe the company's called Haimu. Do they show the name here in the little synopses? And no, they don't. Shame on you. Anyway, I believe the company's called Haimu. Haemu. Haemu. Yeah, Haimu. So they get a new manager to head the whole audit department, Juin Ah, and she decides to do one-on-one interviews to evaluate everyone and see where they fit, what constructive criticism she can give them, and so on. And then when she finally gets to No Ji Jun, she decides, you know what? I think you should switch over to Team 3, which he feels is like a step down. He thought he was getting ready to be promoted to some other department or whatever, and like maybe become a supervisor, a team leader of his own group or whatever. But instead, he feels like he got a demotion sent over to Team 3 by Juena. And he's like, but I'm in the middle of this big pharmaceutical case that I'm working on. It's very elaborate, very intricate. I got all this stuff that needs to be handled correctly. So let me finish this first, and then I'll switch over. And she's like, no, just hand me all that information, send it to the cloud, to the corporate cloud, and I'll send it over to the next person. So he does that, and she decides to delete it all, and that's left as a big question mark throughout the series. Yes, there will be spoilers for those of you who have not seen Filing for Love. So if you're not into spoilers, go on to stop this episode, watch the show, 12 episodes, and come back. So anyways, she deletes it. He's none the wiser for a time, and he's busy handling complaints about, is my husband cheating on me with a coworker? That's like his first case, and at first he's looking at it and he's like, no, there's no big deal. I don't know why the wife is just being paranoid. And of course it turns out that he was wrong, and the husband was cheating, and he almost gets beaten up by or run over first, and then beaten to death by the wife. But he gets saved by the manager, Juina, who helped cover his ass, so to speak, to uncover the truth in the infidelity. And then they don't really get into more details as to how they close out that story. We just know that it's closed. The next case he deals with is, what was it? It was something similar. I don't remember. And then there was a third one that he gets into regarding this husband who joined a scuba diving club, and he was always afraid of scuba diving. But now all of a sudden he's joining the scuba diving club. He's always tired. He's not helping out in the family. He's not keeping his promises to his children to like going to their spelling bee and presentations. Instead, he's doing all these scuba diving activities. And that happens, that's like his third or fourth case. And that so at first, because especially with that first case, he feels like this is beneath him. This is not. Oh, the second one was there's this section in the parking area, like towards the basement, the lower floor parking, section F, I think it was, where there's a lot of hanky panky going on. And obviously, that's not allowed. You're not supposed to have sex in the workplace, but people are doing it in the parking lot in section F or whatever. So that was like the second story, um, which I think they eventually do close out that section, but I don't know if they ever catch anyone doing anything there. Anyways, point is, at first he feels like this is beneath him, and he feels like he's being disrespected and insulted by Jun and Na. And at some point, during this point where he decided, you know what, I'm thinking about just quitting. I'm just going to quit this company and go somewhere else. He receives a an anonymous message in the corporate messaging app, letting him know that um, there's an accusation, a complaint that his supervisor Junina is actually in an illicit affair with someone higher up in the corporation, and him feeling kind of bitter and disrespected, he decides, you know what, let me hold off on the resignation because I might be able to get this woman fired, and therefore save myself and get revenge. Oh right, he did catch someone in Section F. It was actually this other vice president, this other corporate leader, who he actually had a good relationship with, and that guy was telling him that he's creating another business opportunity inside the company, and he's going to immediately transfer him out because he's his favorite auditor or whatever, and he appreciates he recognizes his professionalism and excellent work, and feels like he would be crucial to his new department, so to speak. However, that guy gets caught having sex in the parking lot, so he gets fired and terminated, and that whole job opportunity disappears. And of course, Juana was aware that this guy was interested in leaving the department because of her, and so on. And she throws that in his face. So that really riled him up, and like, so he's like now incentivized to catch her in this affair thing, which turns out never is false. But anyway, that's for later towards the end of the show. Point is, through all these different cases beneath him, so to speak, he starts seeing Audit Team 3 in a different light. He starts having more personal relationships with his fellow coworkers, and it's humanized more. And because of some other stuff that are happening around the company and the machinations, and realizing that Junina is actually not disrespecting him, so to speak, but she just saw she saw that this lateral move would actually be beneficial to him because of his ability to be objective in his investigations, and Team 3 kind of needed his expertise to help improve their effectiveness and success rate, so to speak, with these cases, because apparently they weren't as successful until this guy came in, and he's really been closing these cases and with a high success rate, like as he's always had in audit team number 1. And there comes a point where, their team leader, he's friends with everybody. He's a very personable person, and he's like friendly with the we'll just call her a lunch lady. She's the food vendor, whatever, for the cafeteria of the corporate office. And in one occasion, there was like a big there was a executive meeting or whatever, and there was a surplus of food, which, if you're aware of restaurants and whatnot, at the end of the day, they tend to just throw away this food, and instead of just giving it to people. So this woman packed up a bunch of this food and gave it to him, and he's like, no, I can't. Well, no, actually, he accepts the food because, hey, free food. But then she wanted also to give him some extra money, and he's like, no, I can't do this. I can't accept money because it's, goes against company policy, bribery and what have you. And she's insistent because she's like an older woman, and Korean culture, and that's a thing. However, it clashes with corporate culture, and the way it's you and the if you look at it from a certain angle away and you're not close enough, it could sort of out of context look like she's grabbing him in his private parts, if you want to be a pervert about it. But in reality, it was just her trying to give him money, and he's like pushing it away or whatever, and their hands happen to be below his waist. So a guy walking by who, corporate, one of the workers or whatever, who's just being whatever, sees this and starts taking photos and says, "Oh, look, this woman is they're having they're doing hanky panky right here in the hallway," and that's not what's happening, but that's how he sees it. And the way he takes the picture, it looks like she's grabbing him by his privates, which is in fact not what's happening. So that gets sent up to H&R to HR, and at this point in time, HR is dealing with another public disaster in that this the other son, the second son of the head of the company, is coming back, and he was sent away for some reason or other, which is still scandalous, and they feel like it's too soon, but the head of the company is bringing him back because he showed that he has some kind of deal happening in Africa or somewhere, I forget exactly, and so it's not favorable. But they then see this picture that gets sent on, and regardless of whether it's true or not, the point is, hey, rumors will happen anyway, hearsay, perception, blah blah blah. It'll distract. This is a nobody. This is just a team leader of Team 3. He's not ambitious or anything. He's not gonna go anywhere. He's not an important person. Whereas the second son of the president of the company, the CEO, the owner, he's a bigger deal, and he's the one that we have to protect. So we'll just redirect all this anger to this guy. So they start blowing it up, and they make it out to be more than what it is, and it's a whole lot of nothing. But the perception is that he's having an affair with this lunch lady. She, of course, is an independent contractor, contracted by the company to be the food vendor of the cafeteria. She gets fired. He gets looked down on. His wife thinks that her husband is having an affair, which of course he's not. So it's causing havoc to his actual love life. To the woman who's the food vendor, she's getting fired for this. Her son comes into the building to the building and starts beating the crap out of him. He gets suspended. He's on trial because they're doing an audit. Turns out, of course, that none of it is true, but a lot of damage is done. And instead of retracting or anything, HR decides, it'll just blow over or whatever. It doesn't matter. And then Juanan is like, no, you should do something. You're the ones who blew this up to protect the CEO's son. So we know what you did, and you should fix this. And like, no, we're not gonna. Rumors will just be, replaced by other rumors. And she's like, oh, okay, that's right. Rumors will be replaced by other rumors. So she starts having a fight with the head of the H&R department. So people start, they're grabbing each other's hair. And of course that becomes the new scandal. Like, oh my God, look at these women fighting in the hallway, in the middle of our workplace and whatnot. So in doing that, she runs cover for her team, Team 3, and the rest of the audit department. And it's around this point that Nogi Jean, or Nogi Jean, I can't pronounce his name. He starts seeing her in a new light, and of course that eventually builds to love because they become love interests, and so on. And I really don't want to go into the minutia of all the different storyline, how all the different episodes and other details. She goes to an art class to be a nude model. That becomes a not really a well, sort of a pivotal story point in her character development because her mother used to do that, and she felt embarrassed about her mom doing it, but then her mom dies, and in guilt she does it in her place and starts to recognize and why her mom did it and learn from it. And so she's had a sad life, and she always feels like she can't ever be loved or whatever. But no Ji Jun or no Gi Jun, however you pronounce his name, he eventually, you know, creeps into heart, her hardened shell, and fills it with love, and she starts to have hope for a better life with someone, and they become, the love interests of the show. Um, the other storyline, of course, is the second main leads. As I mentioned, the old actor Kim Jae Uk. He has unrequited feelings for Ju and Ah. They used to date, but then he married this woman that he was arranged to marry, and so they obviously broke up. And but he never stopped loving her. But she encouraged him to do it because, hey, that's what your family wants. I never expected our relationship to continue because obviously you're a chaebol. I'm no one. You have to respect your family and your elders and whatnot. And he didn't fight it, and so that alone destroys any chances of them ever getting back together. And with No Ji Jun, she tells him that whenever she feels like vulnerable and willing to believe in love, that's when she's going to push against it and push away the most when she doesn't want to lose what she has. And sadly, Jun Jian Yul did not know that. So he married this woman, and that, of course, destroyed any chances of them ever getting back together. He eventually divorces her towards the end of the show, but at this point, she's already moved on. She falls in love with No Ji Jun, and she does the same pattern of self-destruction of trying to destroy the relationship, but he persists, and she eventually just gives in. Meanwhile, Park Ah Jung, No Ji Jun's ex, the secretary of the vice president, Ju Ja Yul, she has unrequited feelings for him, and he's not interested in her. And so she feels bitter about his feelings for Ju Ina. She's the one who actually sent the rumor to Audit Team 3 about the quote unquote affair that Ju Ina is having with Jun Jae Yul, which of course is not the case. And of course, she's kind of bitter that No Ji Jun developed feelings for Ju Ina, and they're a newly developed relationship. And in her resentment and bitterness, she decides to finally, because her initial report went nowhere, she decides to then send out a mass email to everyone. And because she's living in No Ji Jun's house, when the IT department does an IP tracker, they track it to his apartment. No Ji Jun is willing to take the bullet and say that, yeah, he sent it out of bitterness or whatever to protect Juana, but that doesn't pan out because I believe Jun Jae-yul confesses that, yeah, that's me in the picture, and there's nothing happening between us. What happened was that I hugged her in a un-Korean way, a very Western way, because obviously I missed her and she came in, and so I hugged her. I embraced her in this hug, which apparently is scandalous in this environment because that's not how Koreans greet each other. And it's very scandalous for a married man, let alone a chaebol, married chaebol, to do that with their subordinate in the parking lot. For whatever reason, that's scandalous. I never thought it would be, but again, I'm not from that culture, so I'm just going to take it at face value. And so he took the bullet, the vice president did, and saved them both. And of course, he fires his secretary, Park Jung. But what happens is that she then sides with the other son to try to take down everyone, Jun Jaeul and Juina by proxy, because they protect each other. Oh, right. So the reason why she deleted those files from the pharmaceutical is because it links to something that Jun Jaeul is involved with, because he has a charity organization, and it looks like money was being embezzled or trafficked over there. It was being laundered. That's the word, laundered, through this charity organization and whatnot. And it turns out that no, it's not at all scandalous, but it could be perceived as such, which was why Juina deleted those files that No Gi-jun gave her regarding his investigation of the pharmaceutical department of Haimu. So that also became a big piece of contention, and because they're still trying to push the line that they're having an affair. Maybe you did it because you're not your lover. Why would you're protecting your lover and blah blah blah. Anyways, point is, all's well that ends well. At first, they take the fall. The other son takes over, and then he starts destroying the company. He starts being Trump, essentially, destroying everything for his own benefit, because he's trying to sell parts of the company and just destroy the quality control, put his cronies in every department. So public morale is down, and just doing all these illegal, well, not illegal, but it's sort of illegal. It's sort of corporate espionage that he's doing to just benefit from it selfishly at the expense of everyone else. He was going to lay off like 150,000 workers so that he can get some profit off of it. But in the end, Juina and company save the day and gets him fired before the sale gets signed off on, making that sale invalid, and all is saved. 150,000 jobs are saved, and they reorganize whatever was done with the other departments over time. And of course, Juina and No Gi-jun or No Gi-jun live happily ever after, and that's essentially the plot of the story. My point is, it's a cute little K-drama rom-com. Once again, Shin Hae-soon is brilliant at her role. I've watched her in Mr. You know what? Let me look at her credentials. I've seen her in a few other K-dramas, and there's a couple that I need to watch. I saw her in Welcome to Samdalri. That was good. See You in My 19th Life. Mr. Queen. Angel's Last Mission, Love. Still 17. And of course, My Golden Life, which was 52 episodes. That was the big one. I think that's like that was her breakout role in My Golden Life. But anyways, so I saw her in 4 other shows, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows, 6 other K-dramas. And each one, and I also saw her in a movie where she's a badass vigilante in the movie Brave Citizen. That was a good one. And it came out in 2023. So yeah, I saw her in a lot of good stuff. She's a great actress. She's I call her the Meryl Streep of K-dramas, because each role is different from the next, and she really breathes life into the character and not hides in it, but completely changes into that role and becomes dissimilar to all the other roles that preceded the one present. So I definitely recommend it if you're into K-dramas, rom-coms, and just want to see brilliant acting. And I think actually this was her the best chemistry with a co-star. Out of the ones that I've seen, I believe was in this one as well with that guy who played. What was the name again? Nogi Jung. I'm horrible with names. Nogi Jun, yeah, by Gong Myung. Gong Myung. So yeah, I think we're gonna leave it here. And that wraps up the show. If you have any questions, comments, or any thoughts you'd like to share, you can reach me via email at julioscorner.com. If you're feeling extra generous, you can click on the donate link in the show notes and send some money my way. This show is licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. This means you can share this episode, remix it, do whatever you want, just say where you got it from. And as always, thanks for listening.